Time for sports with Freestyle MMA head coach Joe Lopez over in Jacksonville, UFC 273 this weekend. Volkanovski versus the Korean Zombie. First of all, man, a little bit of trouble to get over to Jacksonville, but you managed. How's everyone sort of coping out there?
Yeah, thanks for having us on, Cris. Yeah, it was a long trip, 30 hours. We got stuck in Dallas there for a while. Every 2 hours, they kept saying the flight's been delayed. But, yeah, we finally got here, at, I think, 4:30 in the morning, US time. So, yeah, it was, feeling sore and tired after so many hours on the plane and hanging out, doing nothing. But we're good now. We're all good.
That's good. Obviously, there's a few boys down there joining up. Like you mentioned off camera, Craig Jones is coming today. I had a few people asking if Craig was actually going to get another shot in the corner for this fight. So obviously that's the case.
Yeah, he just arrived. The boys just had a bit of a training session. And, we've got Brad Riddell here and Eugene Ross tomorrow. We've got Hickman, of course. We've been here from the beginning. And then a couple of old boys from Tiger, Shea and MLO, they got here this afternoon as well. So we're starting to get a bit of a big crew happening. There's probably about 12, 15 boys here now, so it's good.
Who gets the corner spots?
Only the good guys. That's why Riddell isn't there.
So yourself, Eugene, and Craig in the corner this time?
And Frank.
Oh, Frank. Oh, so four of them.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
We've got four champions. Champions get 4 rounds, or title holders. I shouldn't say champs, because the other side gets 4 as well.
Makes sense. And on the other side, Korean Zombie, for yourself as the coach, this is a guy you haven't fought before. He's been around a long time. Must be nice to prepare for someone a little bit different than Max Holloway.
Yeah, it is. And Korean Zombie is a legend of the sport, and it'll be just to have somebody different there, and he brings a different strategy and everything else to the fight. I think it should be exciting. He wants to walk forward and play the zombie. I think it's going to be a pretty hard day for him. With Alex on the other side of him. Picking his shots and not being there when he wants to counter.
Yeah, like you say, Zombie will come forward. He'll keep coming forward no matter how bad things are going for him. He's going to walk forward. But he does have, threats around the park. I feel like he's been quite underrated coming into this fight. He's a very good grappler. He's got a twister submission finish in the UFC, which very few people can claim. When you look at the tape, what do you make of him as an opponent for Alex?
We don't underestimate him at all. He's been around a long time. He's good everywhere. And like I said, he's very durable. He's prepared to wear 2 to give 1, and he'll come back. So, the bookmakers and that are seeing, one thing, but the way we're approaching him, we're approaching him like if we were facing Max or anything, we don't take anybody in that top 10 is dangerous, even that top 15, they're all dangerous men, they're there for a reason, they're in the MMA organisation in the world, so you can't any of those guys lightly, so we prepare accordingly,
When the news came out that Max wouldn't be able to take the trilogy fight, how did a fight with Zombie come together? Was he the first name that you guys thought of, or was it the first name that UFC presented to you?
No, we went down the line and we were looking for who deserved it the best. And out of that, top 10, the Korean Zombie was the only one, the first guy to come off that was coming off a win. And, he was the one. Max was out. Ortega, we just fought. What's his name? Yari was coming off a loss. And then there was Korean Zombie, who was the one coming off a win. So the way I looked at it was we've got to fight someone that's coming off a win. Yari might have, thought that he deserved it. to me, it was the guy who came off a win. Even though he did put up a great fight against Max, we wanted to fight someone that was coming off a win. And the Korean Zombie, to be all fair, I think he deserved it. He's been around for a long time. He's always clipping at the ears. And it'd be good to have that on Alex's resume that he fought the Zombie, and we're going out there to win, so we're gonna beat the Zombie as well. So that were the things that came in, and we presented it to the UFC, and they said anything we did. You know what I mean? It would have been unfair to give it to anybody else but him.
Understandable. What did you make of Max coming out and saying that he'd be the backup for this fight, even though he was initially the scheduled opponent but had to withdraw because of injury?
Look, my take on it, I think he's still injured and he just wanted to stir the pot, That's the only thing I can see. I haven't heard anything or anything else, but to me, that's the way I looked at it. I could be wrong. He might. I can't see a guy like that faking an injury. To say that there. I just think he's just playing mind games. And get inside Alex's heads. But to me, I that's the way I looked at it. That he just wanted to have a bit of fun and say, I'll be the backup fighter, knowing all too well that everyone was going to say no. And he'd have a little bit of fun at Alex's expense or everybody's expense to be right, bit of clickbait on.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Just make sure he stays in the picture for their next fight.
Yeah.
When you look at, I guess the rest of the year for Alex, I asked him the same thing. Do you feel like things are trending towards the UFC coming back to Australia or New Zealand, and Alex playing a pretty pivotal role in that?
Well, that's the talk, everywhere's the talk. It's just a matter, hopefully these governments, open up the world and we can get along with our lives like we always have, and don't get stuck so much on, who's vaccinated and who's unvaccinated and, the fourth jab and all this bullshit. And we just open up and just get along with our lives. And I think, everyone you speak to has just had enough, that, at the beginning, everybody was scared and everybody didn't know. But I think in my personal opinion, the cat's out of the bag and we just got to move on, We're all going to die, whether we die getting hit in the car or something else. We just got to live our lives and not live in a little bubble, We've got to enjoy it while the short time that we got here, And if someone's vulnerable or whatever, sure, protect those people. But for anybody else, I think we just need to live our lives, I think we've just been too restrained for too long, God, I've gone all political.
We'll veer right away from that. Alex isn't the only title fight that you've been helping out in the gym. You've also got Arlene Blencowe coming in to train with you. She's obviously over in the States as well, currently at Jacksonville, I think she's working out of for her fight with Cyborg in a few weeks. When you look at preparing for someone like Cyborg, how do you go about that? Especially when Arlene fought her not that long ago and things didn't go all that well for her.
Yeah, well, look, we took back, looked at and took back what she was bad at. And honestly, she'd come to our gym probably 2 or 3 weeks before that fight, and she realised she had a few holes in her game. And to her credit, a lot of people would just say, I'm better than that and I can move on. She took on what we said and she came back and she was aware of where she was wrong. And she has just got so much better in that, against the cage and the ground. She's gone and sought the best people to be around her and to help her. And I'm telling you, she's a completely different fighter in that game. And as far as the striking goes, she's a world champion boxer. She can bang with the best of them. So, she's already got that skill set. Where she was lacking was probably her ground and her scrambling and off the cage. And she's really worked so hard on those aspects. And she's a completely different fighter than when she first fought Cyborg. So I'm just hoping she can put it all together. It's probably her last chance of getting that belt, and hopefully she does bring it back. I told her she can't come back unless she brings it back.
I feel like game planning for someone like Cyborg, for you as a coach, it would just be such a fun time, because obviously Cyborg is so good and has done so much in the sport.
Yeah, but she's beatable. You know what I mean? I think she had the big boogeyman around her that she was unbeatable, and I think a lot of the times people would into that, going into the fight that they were going to lose. Where I think when someone's been beaten, people will look at it a lot different, and they know that she is beatable, and you can go in there looking that, hey, I can do it. I can do it as well. If I just train hard enough and do the right things to get there, And Arlene has, she works so hard, win, lose or draw. I'm proud of her anyway, because when she's training, she trains the whole lot. She travels like nearly an hour and a half to come down and train with us. She stays away from her family for 3 or 4 days at a time to try and train and work with us. And now she's gone to the US, and she wanted to stay, but we were leaving, and then there was no one here to corner her, so she went back to Winkle John's, which is a good gym itself. They've got phenomenal coaches there, and she's built up a reputation with all the girls and everybody there. So good on her. I'm proud of her anyway, because she's a great fighter, great person.
Is that something that's starting to happen a little bit more now that more and more people are starting to come to you guys for training, that you don't have enough people to corner everyone?
We're not to the stage of like the City Kickboxing guys. They've got such a huge gym. We've got a very small gym, but we do get a lot of people coming in to our gym now from everywhere. And before COVID, we were getting people from all around the world, coming, staying with us for a month or 2 months, 3 months to train with us, which is really good, because I'm a firm believer in having different bodies, to work with. It doesn't keep you stale, So the more, and that's hence a lot of the reasons why we do go over to City Kickboxing, or we used to go to Tiger, or everything else is just, there's different bodies. At the end of the day, a punch is a punch and a kick is a kick. But it's how other people are delivering it, and you don't want to go in there into the fight and something surprises you because you've never seen it before. So. From day one, I've always been, if we couldn't find guys, we would travel to find guys, to do sparring, and I think, coach, you need to have that openness to explore and let your fighters go out and train with other people. So, you might not be able, to turn the light on in a technique, and someone else might, You just got to be confident in yourself that they're going to come back to you, because they know that you're the one that's looking after them, You
mentioned City Kickboxing. I was talking to Blood Diamond not that long ago, and just talked about how they had to stop off in Australia, so they got a bit of work in at Freestyle while they were there. Blood Diamond said that he's your favorite. Is that true?
He is. He's my favorite City Kickboxing boy. Eugene hates it, but he is. Blood. He's a good man. I like him,
How was it having those boys
we have a lot
there?
of fun. Sorry?
How was it having those boys there for a few weeks?
Yeah, it was good, I guess they could have gone anywhere in the world to sit out there 2 weeks, and they chose to hang down here with us, and they brought their rainy Auckland weather for us for the 2 weeks they were here. It rained every single day, So I wanted to make them feel at home. But we had a good time. It was, it's always good to catch up with those guys. We're sort of, you could say, they're sort of like family. We get along really, really well. We all sort of, we think the same, and we've got the same sort of, attitude in the way, Eugene and myself approach things. We don't take ourselves too serious, and we don't want any of the boys to take themselves too serious. If they get too big-headed or anything, we're very quickly to pull people down and into line, and in a good fun way.
If we just pull it back to Alex, like you said, Korean Zombie is a guy he hasn't fought before, a guy who has done so much in the sport, been around for a long time at the very top of the UFC featherweight division. When you think of Alex's legacy, and it is getting to that point with Alex's career where, his record is so impressive. He has beaten everyone that they've put at him. He's got a few title defenses now that cementing his legacy among the greats or even as the greatest is really something that we should be talking about. Where does this fight sit in, I guess, adding to that legacy?
Look, as long as you keep winning, it's going to add to the legacy. You probably need to win a few more fights before you can say, he's one of the, I don't think he'll just, half the time it's not going to allow him to have as many defenses as Aldo. He's beat Aldo. He's beat all the featherweight champions bar Connor, but Connor's probably, looking like a middleweight at the moment. But, and Alex never wants to take an easy fight, throughout his career, they've given him options and he always chooses the hard one. He never wants to seem like he's the weak, he's chosen the easy path. And when they have happened, sometimes he hasn't won fighting, and even though I go, mate, you've got to take the fight, you need to pay. And that's the kind of person he is, he doesn't want the easy fight. And now, like, he said it today in the media, it's now up to these featherweights for them to get their act together. And like, he was really looking forward to fighting Max. Again, we're assuming that Max will be the next fight, and hopefully it's going to be in Australia. And then it's up to everybody else, for these guys in that top five to, fight it and sit on their hands and say next, you know what I mean? And for a long time, guys like Yari were sitting out. A lot of them were just sitting out and, we're trying to take the easy road out, where that's what we're not about that. We want to fight the people that deserve it, and you get a couple of fights in there, well, you're next off the rank, Same as Yari. If Yari wants to be the next one off, he should be trying to fight someone out as soon as he can. So if he wins, if Max doesn't want to fight, he's the next cab off the rank, But he can't just sit there and go, hey, I deserve it because I'm number 3. No way, We'd rather fight a Josh Emmett who, he doesn't sit on his hands. He gets out there and wants to fight, He had an injury, come back, power to him, But these guys that want to sit on their hand, want to give to them, nah. I know Alex wouldn't take it, and me as his coach wouldn't want to either. We've had to earn and fight for our spots, and anybody that wants to fight us has to do the same thing,
Fair enough, man, and that makes perfect sense. We'll leave it at that and let you get back to it. Thank you very much for your time, as always. A pleasure to talk to you, and hope all goes well on Sunday, New Zealand / Australia time.